Okay, everybody, thank you so much for coming tonight. I am Miss Knapp-Lindsay. I am the Career and College Readiness Coach here at Ignite. And this is Miss Anderson.
I am the academic advisor for Ignite students that I work for daily. Just
But she's Ignites, sort of, most of the time. So your presentation's a little different than ninth grade, just because I am coming in with the assumption that you know a little more, but I could be totally making the wrong assumption. So if we get to the end here and there's something very basic or advanced that we haven't covered, please feel free to ask. There will be like a question opportunity at the end. But I wanted to talk to you tonight just because we are in the sign up process for fall dual credit coursework. And so your students are going to be juniors next year, and so they have the opportunity to take more dual credit. Is this going to be new for anyone's student, like that they've never taken dual credit? Yeah. Okay. Cool. That's fine. Like that's totally okay. So hopefully we can address your questions as well tonight. And if I don't, again, ask at the end. So I'll dig right in. Actually, Miss Anderson will, and just talk about like eligibility for entrance into dual credit classes.
So really not tricky. Your ACT score, or no, let me back up. To be eligible for dual credit classes, if you've already taken dual credit, your gateway GPA has to be at a 2.0. That's the bare minimum to remain in dual credit classes. If you're new to dual credit, your high school GPA needs to be at a 3.0. If your GPA is not quite there yet, if you're at a 2.7, 2.8, and you're determined you want to take dual credit classes next semester, go ahead and complete the application, complete the sign up form. We'll revisit your GPA at the end of the school year. If it's not where it needs to be, we just will say, hey, let's try again in the spring, and you won't be enrolled in college classes. You'll just be added to high school classes.
Yeah, and we emphasized with students if they didn't know where to find their GPA because they're required to put it on the form, they can either find. Some of them can see it in Infinite Campus, some can't. But the GPA is on the report card that was mailed home in January. If you still have that, if not, it's fine. We have them all printed out, ready to go for Thursday, because on Thursday students are able to come here to the box and work with several representatives from Gateway as well as me. And even maybe some student representatives to get information that they need, including the GPA. Or if they need help logging into ACT to find an ACT score, they need help applying to the college. Like we are here all day, 8 to 2 on Thursday. So stop in and see us and we'll help you. College costs money, and it costs a lot of money. I know I have 2 students in college right now. But dual credit does sort of help ease the cost of college. So I've put together like a little comparison here for you. So right now the rate for dual credit is $72 per credit hour. Now that could increase a little bit this summer if the state adjusts it. They didn't adjust it last summer, so they may a little bit this year. And most college courses are 3 credit hours. So if you do the math, or not, just look at my screen. 216 is the dual credit rate for each dual credit class plus fees. If you compare that, though, to once your child graduates, the rate for college tuition for one class at Gateway right now is $537. At Northern, it's $1239. And at Thomas More, it's $1974. Okay, and these are all current rates. So it is a significant savings, as you can see, provided that your child or student is ready for dual credit. That's important. Also, you'll see Spanish is going to be an available option to some juniors. So if your child chooses Spanish, know that that's a 4 credit hour class. So it would cost $288 because it has a lab with it, plus fees. All right, and then in terms of paying that, for the fall semester, so if you sign up for classes now, the bill, if your child is taking dual credit now, then that bill has to be paid before May. And then she'll be able to enroll for fall. And then the fall bill will not be paid until October, November timeframe. So there's a little bit of a lull because they have to adjust the rate down from the normal tuition. Okay. The credits generally transfer. However, if you want to know for absolute certain, you do have to Google the term transfer equivalency and the name of the college that you're interested in. Because basically, how this works is most of the classes that we offer at Ignite are general education classes. So, especially if your student goes to school in Kentucky, there's a House Bill 160 that requires universities to accept dual credit coursework. But sometimes if you go out of state or, it could differ. But each college has something called a transfer equivalency document. So if you Google that, like transfer equivalency, LSU, then what you'll come up with eventually in your search is kind of like a two-box chart. And on the one side, you would type in, like, I took History 101 with Gateway. And then on this side, it would show you, like, oh, that's our equivalent of History 120 at LSU. So that way you can see, like, what transfers over and what doesn't, especially out of state. Know that the dual credit grades do affect the college and high school transcripts. So this is like serious business. And then there is an opportunity at Ignite to earn the associate degree, or an associate degree, I should say, which is essentially 60 credit hours of college work by the time the student graduates. And I'm going to let Ms. Anderson talk about that. Here we go.
So I like to describe the SMART plan as a map, right? If you want the associate's degree, the SMART plan is going to help guide you to make sure you're meeting all the requirements to earn that associate's degree. Now, we make it pretty easy for you guys here at Ignite. Everything we offer will apply to an associate's degree. We're very intentional with the courses that we offer to make sure they fit into one of these categories. We just kind of don't throw out random classes like, hey, you should take Dinosaurs 101, which actually is a class, by the way. It is. And it's a hard class. So the top box is the general education core. This is the Associates of Art. It's going to look a little different if you're pursuing the Associates of Science, but it's 60 credit hours regardless. So the top box is the general education. There's additional requirements for each degree. Obviously, science is going to be math or science, or the additional requirements. Arts are going to be arts, humanities, or language. And then the electives at the bottom. And while they are electives, they're not electives in the true sense that you get to pick any class you want. Again, Gateway's very intentional. We designed a program specifically for Ignite. All the classes we offer here are only for Ignite students. So I feel like I've said it 4 times now, but I'll say it one more time. Everything you take will fit into this plan so you can earn your degree while you're a high school student.
Okay, so there's that.
And I'm going to add, if you don't want to earn an associate's degree, that's okay. We're not forcing you to. It's just an option. It's just an opportunity. If you just want to take some dual credit classes, get some college classes knocked out at a discounted rate, absolutely. I'm still here to help you. We'll still do that. I don't want anyone to feel like this is your only option.
Mm-hmm. And we told students, we spent a good amount of time because we did meet with sophomores today, but we explained to them that these are the expectations, the bare minimums really, is that they're attending class not just as physical bodies, right, but mentally engaged, participative people who need to communicate with professors. That's a big switch. So some students still rely on parents to communicate with their high school teachers. And that's fine if that's what your family decides, that's what works for you. But that would not work in a dual credit class. The professors will only work with the students. Okay. And there is definitely a barrier there, like an invisible barrier, I guess. But if your student is making a genuine effort to communicate with the professor and there's some failure to communicate, we're happy to kind of help the student, coach the student, like, oh, maybe need to get signed up for tutoring, or have you tried communicating this approach? What have you said so far? What have you done? But there will not be any communications between parents and professors. There also is kind of a double amount of things to check once you enter into college classes, because at Ignite, we ask that they always are checking their Boone County email and their Canvas for their classes. But at Gateway, they'll also have to check that email as well as their Blackboard account, which is Gateway's learning management system. And then we ask them to please work hard and earn good grades, just like in any other academia. So I'm going to show you the actual sign-up form that I showed them today. It's released. It's out there. It's on my website. Their teachers hopefully put it on all of their Canvas accounts, and then I'm putting it on social media too. So I'll show you that form, but they know, because we went over with them today, that they have to do several things. If they've never taken classes at Gateway, they need to apply to Gateway. They have to submit an agreement that's electronically signed by both the student and parent. They do have to add the GPA from, again, the report card, or they can come to the box and we'll give it to them. And then if they've taken the ACT, we do want them to add in their ACT scores. So if you're the person who set up their ACT credentials, please give them the login for that, right? Yeah.
If they've already taken dual credit, do they have to sign up again like every semester?
No.
They have to sign up for classes. They don't have to reapply to Gateway.
Yeah. So if you've already taken classes, you will skip to 3. Yeah. But I will show that form here in just a second. Actually, let me show it now. So it's a Google form that has to be completed by next Thursday at midnight. And I really can't extend that for any reason. So I told them, like, plan ahead, right? Especially with internet outages and things, don't wait. They also shouldn't wait until next week, especially if they've never applied to the college, because that process takes a few days. So they will go to this form and they will put in their first name, last name, and then answer this question, whether they plan to pursue the associate degree by earning 60 hours according to the SMART plan or not. So if they're all gung-ho, super motivated, yes, that's definitely my goal, put yes. If they know that they're not on track to do that, or like, I want a better balance because I do a lot of extracurriculars, or for whatever reason, they put no. But if they're not sure, that's okay too. Just they can put maybe, and then Miss Anderson will help with advising them toward whether that can be a reality or not, if that's their goal. They put in their Boone County email address. They put in their personal phone number in case I need to get a hold of them because, like, a professor needs them or canceled a class or something. They have to put in their GPA. And then if they've taken ACT, Miss Anderson needs them to screenshot their scores and send them to her. So here's her email address. And if the student doesn't know how to do that, they can come to the box here on Thursday and we can help with logging into the ACT. Just make sure they have the login credentials if you set that up. And then again, if you've applied to Gateway already, the students have a 9-digit number. That's their Gateway ID. It starts with 00. But I know that there's someone who's going to be new to dual credit. So I'll show you the application and let Ms. Anderson speak about that.
So the application itself probably takes 15 minutes. It's not a difficult application. It's not long. You don't have to write an essay or anything. It's here if you go to the Gateway KCTCS, I encourage anybody. We've got a whole dual credit page full of information, basics, eligibility, resources, partners, orientation, which I highly suggest all students go through. But the Gateway admissions application right there, number 1. Go through that. A few key reminders I got from the admissions office. Number 1, and this is probably most important, you have to put your home high school. Do not put Ignite. It is not recognized in the state as a traditional high school. It will bounce your application out, which will slow this whole process down. So make sure you put your homeschool. Double check your personal information, date of birth, email addresses, home addresses, because again, that comes into play as you continue to take classes down the road. Make sure it's going to ask you what program you're applying for. I think that's the word program. Dual credit is what you want to check. And it's also going to ask what school. There's, I think, 16 of us in the KCTCS system. Gateway. I know that sounds dumb, but you'd be surprised how many kids applied at Elizabethtown last semester. Gateway, we're the ones. Double check that. Again, it's not hard. You can probably knock it out in 15 minutes. The next thing, and parents, even if your kid's in dual credit, some of you have not done this part. Click on the dual credit enrollment agreement. It's an electronic form you and your student are going to sign, just as I agree. I know I have to pay for college. I know I have to adhere to university policies, all that good stuff that will communicate with the high school, the home high school, and Ignite, that you'll go through the syllabus, that your grade earned is permanent, just an agreement so we're all on the same page. There's no surprises. I mean, there still might be surprises, but
At the bottom of that agreement, too, there's a little thing that says, I've uploaded my transcript. Don't worry about that. We have the transcript. We'll take care of that. Okay. So once you've gone through Gateway's application and that enrollment agreement, then it takes Gateway a few days to process all of that to generate this 9-digit number. So that's why I'm saying, and I've told students, please don't procrastinate to next week, because if there's a lull or they're going to be swamped getting these numbers. So apply this week if you can. Again, we can help you in the box on Thursday if you get hung up, but it also gives Gateway time to process this number so that you make my deadline of submitting the form. They'll put in home high school, the college, and then current grade levels 10.
real quick, just to backtrack, whatever email address you put on your college application, they will email you an admissions letter saying, congratulations, you're now a Gateway student. Here's your 9-digit student ID. So that's where you're going to get that 9-digit number. So make sure you put in an email address that works and that you actually check.
Mm-hmm. And then this page is just a reminder of the cost. And then this next page is the actual sign up. So for juniors, the options that they have is they can take either English 3, which is high school English, all year, or they can choose to take English 101 and 102, which are the college English classes. Now, let me explain that specifically with English, because in Kentucky, students are required to take English 3 as juniors and English 4 as seniors. Like, you have to take English every year in Kentucky. However, Ignite has a waiver that if students take English 101 and 102 as juniors, it will check off junior and senior year. So you won't have English as a senior as long as you pass these as a junior. Okay. It leaves opportunity to take more other classes as a senior too. So yeah. So those classes function dually, as well as History 108 and 109. It's the college version of U.S. history, right? In Kentucky, as a junior, you have to take U.S. history. So you can either take the high school version of it or the college version. And that's the fall class, and that's the spring class. Those two pair together to check off that U.S. history high school requirement. You also have the option to take Spanish 101 and 102. As long as you have taken Spanish 1. Do I have any students? Well, I'll just say, because I'm recording this. Every student needs to have taken a little bit of Spanish, either in middle school or in a younger age, to take Spanish 101 and 102, except design. If your student is a design student, then they can just go right into Spanish 101 and 102. And we have to do it that way for those students just because they couldn't take it in earlier years. They were taking other art and design classes. So anyway, that is an option, and I recommend it, even if language is not your favorite thing, but because it helps to fill up that SMART plan, plus it's good to be bilingual. All right. And then as far as what we call production day courses, these are pretty specific to the college. So production day courses are those typically that take place on Tuesday, Thursday, okay, during our production days. So if your student is in biomed, allied health, or engineering, and they want to take a Tuesday, Thursday class, it's going to be a humanities class. We don't know which one yet, really depending on how many students we have sign up. That's going to help Gateway determine their staffing, but it's going to be humanities. In the past, we've offered humanities, we've offered Art 100, we've offered Music 222, which is history of rock and roll. We've offered, this semester, we're offering creative writing. We've done intro to film in the past, but it's something along the arts and humanities line, okay? If your child's a computer science student, then the additional class is CIS 113, which is a class that's offered by one of our teachers, Mr. Martis. He instructs it through Thomas More, though. So if you're computer science and you take CIS 113, you're going to also have to apply to Thomas More, and I have their dual credit page linked in here, okay? For our education scholars, they take their education classes through NKU, and they're taking 104 and 305, and there's NKU's application. See, it gets complicated, especially if a student is taking like several colleges. And then design students in the fall will be taking a social behavioral science. We don't know which one, again, it depends on staffing availability with Gateway. But to give you an example, those are classes intended to make a student, I think, well-rounded. So whether it be politics, justice, psychology, sociology, so studies of people, cultures, society, yeah. Or you can say like, nope, I don't want to do anything on Tuesday, Thursday, except hang out with my college and do my production day. I don't want to take college courses in the fall. You also, as a junior, can take a second Tuesday, Thursday class, and it's going to be some sort of social behavioral science. Or you can say, I don't want to take a second production day course. Okay? So that's all straightforward. I'll be honest, it gets a little wonky with math. And I told the students, don't start like conjuring up anything in your mind, because there are no promises at this point what math you're taking. Like, I'm not promising a dual credit math. It just depends on where the student is currently at. It depends on what they're taking this year as a sophomore. It depends on what college they're in. It depends on their ACT score, if they have one. So I just really want them to say, like, well, if I had a preference, I want to take dual credit math or not. And then I need them to tell me what math they are taking this semester. Okay, as well as if they have an ACT score, what it is. And I gave them some examples. They could say like ACT score 23 and I took algebra 2, because it's like a little short response box. Or they could say no ACT score, I'm in algebra 2. Okay, and again, if they need help getting ACT scores, we can help them look them up in the box on Thursday. So those are their choices. And then this last screen is just like where I need your contact information, as well as your acknowledgement that you will help pay for the dual credit coursework, that you will not attempt to contact professors on your child's behalf, that you understand that the college grades go on both the high school and college transcripts, and that your student is subject to Ignite and our partners' policies. And you electronically sign and submit. So that's the form. The form is due by next Thursday at midnight. We can't extend that, even if it's a technical error or something. Do it soon. I do have a website available for you, and I try to keep it updated as much as possible. I'll show that to you in just a second. But we told them, like, if you're going to be in dual credit, you have to stay engaged, right? I've said it 1,000 times in the last couple days, but Boone County email, Canvas, college email, Blackboard, like, you've got to check all of those things. And then good to know that once your child is a junior, the state pays for up to 2 college courses in either junior or senior year. Okay, it's something called the dual credit scholarship, and that gets applied like in the fall, and that's why Gateway allows the delay in payment because they need the scholarships to sort of get applied, and so that is available to you. Let me show you the dual credit website, and then we're done. We'll take questions.
Separate application for that scholarship.
So that scholarship, no, there's not a separate application, and actually, neither Ignite nor Gateway plays a part in it. It's offered by the state. Um, how it works is the homeschool, the counselors at their homeschool supplies a list of the dual credit students to the state of Kentucky, and then it's it's not done quickly. Your student will receive an email saying, you've been awarded a KIA scholarship, please select how you want to apply. And then once that comes back to the state then will send the money to us. So you really don't have to do much on your part, except make sure your student pays attention to their email and responds to it.
That's one of the things that I have on my website. Like this, I've got, these are the sort of tabs or areas, but in the Paying for Dual Credit site, I mean, I know that this is probably what you would like to do with the rest of your week, or maybe not. But I do have a section on the dual credit or the KIA scholarship. So KIA, the Kentucky Higher Education Authority, the people who also work with KEYS money, it's the same it's the same organization. But I have a step-by-step guide with screenshots on how to apply for the KIA scholarship. Okay. But again, the key is really knowing when to do it, and you have to wait for the homeschool to send off your class, and you get that email. But let me show you the homepage of my website, just because I try to keep announcements here and things that are going on, like our parent meeting for tonight. I also have the dual credit sign up form here. So if you just Google Ignite Dual Credit, you'll come to my site. And then, we have that help desk in the box. The sign up is due. I have more information about curriculum day classes, the associate degree. If you want to know, like, what classes fit where on the associate degree, I have some advising videos here that I've made in the past. Now they're not current to the curriculum this year because we are making a curriculum adjustment with work with Gateway. So I'll redo those videos and it will be more up to date. But if you just want a general idea, you can think of it generally this way. It's going to be somewhat evenly split. Well, for new sophomores, I guess it's going to be more evenly split, like 2020. But for existing students, I'd say they probably more so took around 18 hours as sophomores, a little more as juniors, and then the goal is as seniors, they will only take 18 hours, 3 classes each semester, because it also pairs with their internship and their senior year, and it's a full schedule. So, but junior year is a little heavier for our current students. So, that.
Could you repeat that last part? So generally juniors are taking 3 courses this semester?
4-ish more. So sophomores typically, this is how it's been working, although we're trying to align the curriculum so it's better spread out. But it's typically like 3 classes, 2 or 3 classes in the sophomore year per semester, 3 to 4 in junior year. And then I really don't advise anybody as a senior takes more than 3 per semester, just because they do have, half of their day is spent at a job and an internship, and that's new for them, and that's a lot to get used to. So they're used to dual credit by then usually, but not the internship so much. So we want to try to always get them to that point before they start senior year, even if that means taking summer classes. We've had students asking us about that. Ms. Anderson is looking at SMART plans and students' goals, and if she determines, like, hey, to meet your goal, you might need to take a summer class or 2, she will reach out to them and let them know that they need to take a summer class. So that might be true for you if you're trying to get the associate degree, right? So, yeah. Uh-huh.
So it depends on the class. The history classes are online, which is why there's not as much lecture. Now there are discussion boards which they're supposed to participate in. And I know they have a few larger papers they need to write throughout the course of the semester. Um, it really depends on the class. It depends which subject. It depends on the instructor. Some instructors are super interactive. If they're in person, they may do projects, they may have lectures, they may do presentations, they may do group work. So it really just depends on, I guess the short answer is it just depends on the class.
I mean,
History's pretty cut and dry. Well, that's debatable, but history is what it is. So, yeah, it's a lot of reading. And that's one of the biggest differences in college. There is a lot more reading than you will do in high school. And it's super important to actually do the readings.
I mean, I guess, yes, the curriculum is online, but in the 4 history courses that we offer here, 101 and 102 as sophomores and 108 and 109 as juniors, the nice thing is that even though the curriculum is online and the professor is over at Gateway, the students are in an in-person class with Ignite teachers who are there to help and support and nudge if needed. So if you feel like that your student needs more support, they have an in-person teacher literally every Monday, Wednesday, Friday that they can go to for help, and they need to initiate that, So that help is there. Plus, Gateway offers tutoring too. So, but yeah, History 108 and 109 will be the same. I mean, maybe, like you said, maybe, because we do also have an instructor, Jamie Dalzell, who's certified, and he teaches some of his classes live, like lecture. I know because he's right by my office, so I get to hear his wonderful lectures. And then some cohorts this semester are taking that History 108 and 109 through Thomas More with Professor Lloyd, who is also wonderful. So that information is still being determined. It depends. I like your answer. Yeah.
So with the humanities dual credit classes, will any of those meet the arts credit you need to graduate?
Everything we offer will meet a requirement to graduate. You mean for high school or college?
Yeah, for high school graduation.
Sorry, I'll shut up. That's a hurt.
Most of them will. Yeah. Yeah. So like we've had students take music 222, like history of rock and roll. It counted on their SMART plan, but it also checked the box for the humanities requirement for high school. Yeah. It's better than taking it on Edgenuity, I think. Yeah, I took that. Yeah.
He might already know this, but I don't. So he is a sophomore, but this was his first year at Ignite. So he only has 2 classes this semester. This was his first semester. So he did not take the history first 2 history classes. Can he still take the history classes as a junior?
History 101 and 102? No. He'll move on to History 108 and 109. Now, depending on your performance in your classes, there may be an option to take them in the summer, but summer classes are far more difficult. I mean, they are. So if you've been rocking your dual credit classes, Miss Anderson may be able to talk to you about 101 and 102 in the summer.
Yeah, if it's something you're really interested in, you want to do, let's chat. I usually I don't blindly say, yes, you can take summer classes because they are a little harder. They move quicker. You have to work more independently. School's closed. Nobody from Ignite's here to kind of provide that wraparound support. I work all summer, so I'll be around to harass you and check in on you. But I just like to, for the parents, I don't want you to pay for a class that your student's not going to be successful in. That's going to cause a whole chain reaction, right? Now you have to pay for a class. You may have to pay for it a second time if they retake it. It may bring their GPA down, and then they can't take a class in the fall. So there's a lot to go into it. I like to meet with the students. I like to see what are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish? I need to feel confident in them that they're going to be successful because I don't want to set them up to fail, and I don't want you to spend money unnecessarily.
Yeah.
I think you touched on this in the beginning, but one of the things I've always wondered about is that, if they do go to a four-year college, it sounds like it just varies according to the college, how many credits they'll accept. Um, I thought I remembered from the presentation last year or last semester, let's say if you're in an education college, then like NKU, kind of they'll accept those credits readily, but another school maybe not. So,
Yeah, again, because most of the classes are general education classes, Kentucky schools, they'll take those. They're required to. But the more college specific classes like education, right? That is where it gets a little trickier because that's why the Google, seriously, transfer equivalency document and the name of the school.
you might to graduate with a bachelor's, you may end up with more credits than you need to graduate.
Yes.
You have to take extra courses in your major or something like that.
Yeah, so again, these are gen eds. They're going to move. And what I've told other people, especially if you're going to an out-of-state college, they may tell you no initially. That happened when I got my master's degree. I had done graduate work in a certification program. And then when I went to get my master's, they said, well, we can't take these credits. I was like, oh, yes, you can. You can usually appeal it, or you can at least file an appeal and have them reconsider. Usually they will, because they want your business. You've done the work. Again, it'll depend on their major. It'll depend on their goals for 4 years. They may have to take extra classes to meet that specific program. But most of these gen eds will move. I'm super confident in that, at least in some form.
Can I ask a follow-up question? Do you have, not necessarily do you have any students who have like gotten an associate's degree and then been awarded like a scholarship to a four-year college?
I can tell you, I know specifically there's a program right now called the Gateway to NKU program. So if a student, like we had 8 students last year graduate with an associate degree from Gateway. And so if they chose to go on to NKU gives them $2,500 off the top right away because they're coming with a Gateway associate degree. I'm trying to think of, so Gateway to NKU is a pathway, a program.
Gateway to NKU, Gateway to Thomas More, Gateway to Moorhead, Gateway to Mount St. Joe. We have agreements with a lot of four-year colleges in the area so that they leave us, their credits go with them to a 4-year, they do half the work, or they take our credit and take the classes with us, and it's a lot less expensive, right? Like a lot less expensive. And then these credits move with them, and then they're awarded their bachelor's degree from whatever that institution is, TMU, NKU, MSJ. So again, it's money saving. And they can still apply for scholarships. There are scholarships available through the institutions, through community. So yes, scholarships are.
Sometimes parents ask me, will my student graduating with an associate degree still be applying to the college as a freshman, which opens up scholarship availability? If that's what you meant. Yeah, they do. They apply as freshmen. Yeah. Yep.
I have another question.
No, go for it. These are good questions.
My daughter's thinking about changing
Colleges.
Mm-hmm. Do you know, is there an associate's degree option for the aviation logistics or logistics?
You're the third person to ask. I don't know. So I have a question out to Mr. Skeen, who's running that program this year. So I don't know. This year we didn't, just because the way it worked this year is we only had a few seniors in it, and they did a half day at their home school and a half day here. And so none of those students are really taking dual credit. So I need to talk with him about like what are the plans for next year so that we can figure that out. Yeah. It's a new program, so I'm sure you know. But a good one. Definitely in high demand in our area.
Gateway has a great logistics program, and there's lots of money out there for logistics.
That's what I was going to say, is that you guys were talking about using the associate degree to go on to a four-year college, which is certainly an option, but also to have the associate degree in your back pocket. But you could also go on into a technical program if you change your mind. Like, I don't think I want to stay in like hardcore academia. I want to like go into a trade or a skill. Go on to Gateway.
Tired. I'd go get a trade tomorrow.
If you weren't so tired.
I wasn't so tired. I would get a trade. And a lot of these classes will move, or they can apply towards an additional certificate, not necessarily a degree, but a certification. If they are looking at skilled trades, which is awesome, because you can stack certifications and certifications and certifications. I wish someone would have told me that.
I have another question. I heard that someone else already asked you this. 529 college savings accounts. Are you allowed to use those funds for Gateway?
I am researching. My initial answer was no, because I was pretty sure someone told me that. Then I decided to do research because I need answers. And I got conflicting. I got, yes, it can be used for dual credit classes towards tuition. But then I saw no if your student's not a full-time college student. So I'm going to find the insert, and we are going to put it on the Ignite dual credit website when I get a solid answer without conflicting.
Yeah, under paying for dual credit, like I'll just plop it on there.
Yeah.
So
Because now I need to know.
I need to know too, because I already used the money.
Yeah, I don't need kids or 529, but I still want to know.
you do. You have 400 kids.
472 kids.
You haven't stumped us yet.
I'm going to throw this one out
Okay.
real quick. And because I want you people at home to know this, if your student has a 504 or an IEP plan, they need to self-identify. What that means is once they've been accepted to Gateway, they need to reach out to the disability service offices and say, hey, I have a 504, I need accommodations. Our disability services department is amazing. They will come here and meet with your student, work out whatever accommodations they need for their classes. They share that with the professor, and then your student will reach out to their professor once they've received those accommodations and say, hey, how does this work for your class? Again, this is entirely on the student. Period. I'm going to die right now.
No, it's very dangerous. Any other questions at this moment? I mean, of course, they may hit you at 2 a.m. We won't respond then, but we'll respond at some point if you email or if you send your child to the box on Thursday with the question. So just nag them a little bit. Tell them to come to the box.
Can I ask one last question?
Sure.
About the aviation logistics, so there is dual credit if you're in aviation logistics, not necessarily an associate's degree, is that right?
I can't speak to it because we had so few seniors in it this year that we don't even have a pathway for that yet. So I need to work with Mr. Skeen because I can tell from the questions I'm getting today that program is like getting ready to expand. And so we need to be having these conversations. It started off very small, but it's not going to stay that way for long, I believe, because you're the third person today to ask me about it. So I don't know the answer to it yet, but I promise you we will work on it. Yep. What else? Anything? No? Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for coming. We appreciate your partnership and your involvement. It's the single biggest factor in your child's success is that we partner together. So thanks again. Nice to meet you. Goodbye at home.